Hello and welcome back. I'm in London today and wanted to make a video. A thought has been sort of crossing my mind a lot recently, and that's about creating for yourself. And the reason it sort of came to my mind is because I've always loved street photography. I've always tried to be engaged in it, create it, but I've never really done anything with it. I've always sort of condemned it to, a hard drive or an SSD somewhere, or my camera roll, because I just assumed that the algorithms don't like street photography, they're not interested, it doesn't perform well. And therein lies the problem that I really wanted to sort of get into today, is like, that shouldn't matter, really. If you like it, if you created it for you, because you thought it was amazing, because you liked the picture, that should be enough, and that work deserves to be seen. So I'm in St James's at the moment, and I'm just standing underneath the latest Banksy artwork, and I'm pretty sure at no point has he ever considered what the algorithm wants when he's creating his artworks. And my argument would be, neither should you. I'm someone who, as of right now, doesn't really have a huge platform. But if I created solely for the platform, then I think your work suffers because of it. Because I'm a bit of a plum, I've forgotten to bring the little hot shoe attachment that I was going to use so that I could do some POV stuff with my trusty M6, and well, I'm filming on my DJI Action 6 at the moment, but I've also got my main body in the bag, which I will probably use to have a little chat with you again in a bit. But for right now, yeah, I really wanted to sort of get into where we are creatively in 2026, especially with photography as a genre, where I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of purely creating work that you think is going to perform well on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, rather than actually creating the work that you love. And I think all of the most successful photographers end up figuring that out at some point, that their work shines brightest when they've created something that they love, that they're proud of, that hasn't been created because they think it's going to perform well. They've created it and don't care whether it performs well. That's a huge thing, I think, is like separating your work from its performance. If one person sees it or 100,000 people see it, as long as you like it, that's kind of the only thing that matters. So yeah, we're gonna start on Waterloo Place, go up to Piccadilly Circus, Regent Street, touch into Oxford Street, then go to Soho, and then I think I'm gonna head over to possibly Borough Market. And yeah, I mean, I put Hectar 100 into the camera, which is quite a slow film really, but there's plenty of light about today, so I think it should be fine. Hip fired off this hilarious little photo of a, I suppose, like Chihuahua type dog that was like being like cradled by its owner. But I was at 125th of a second, utilizing zone focusing. So I know that they were roughly in the zone, but it was like I literally like spun round, clipped the photo, and then carried on walking. So I'm just hoping there's no motion blur in it, but I think it'll be quite funny if it's worked. I think it'll be a good photo. Quite happy with that. I mean, I love walking around London this time of day. It's 9:15 in the morning. The light is just, especially if you get the light right, it's just really fucking nice. And people sort of, they're aware, but they're not aware in London. I don't know, it's just nice, it works. Another thing you've just got to love about London is turning a corner into a random square, and then you've just got one of these bad boys just sitting there. Lamborghini Revuelto, hybrid powertrain. I think they're just over 1,000 horsepower, I think they're like 1,001 horsepower or something. Pretty crazy, but as with all of these flipping modern cars, does need an exhaust. The Gintani make a fucking unbelievable exhaust for them. They sound like an F1 car. Well, not this generation of F1 car. They sound like hairdryers. There's this idea that I've seen a few people speak about, like a variation of this idea. So it's certainly not mine, but I love it and I wanted to speak to you about it. Is in street photography, like one of the hardest things is like, oh, I don't want to get like right up in someone's face or whatever. So like the easiest way to like get into street photography, get in the groove of it, is to go fishing, not hunting. So for example, this here, I spotted a little composition with the shadow coming down here and like where the sun is, like when someone walks into this area, it's like a really interesting shadow, for example. Oh, should have got that guy on camera, it was really cool. Anyway, so I just stood here for 5 minutes and waited for a subject to walk into frame. No one can be annoyed if you take a photo when they have walked into your frame, you know. Whereas obviously if you're going up to someone with your camera and taking a picture really close to them, yeah, fair enough to be a little bit tetchy about that. Although legally in the UK, no one has a right to privacy in public, that's a huge thing, but ultimately people feel like they do, so you may end up in a confrontation if you pursue that sort of more aggressive style of street photography. I guess a lot of the time it's just like bringing ethics into the question. I was just basically taking a photo of this chap here, his stop sign. I thought it looked quite nice. It might be nothing, but it's worth taking, I think. That's always been my mentality, is just take the photo, enjoy the photo. This sort of time of day in London for me is 100% one of my favourite times to be out and about taking photos, because everyone's sort of on their way to work and the light's still low enough in the sky that it's casting interesting shadows. It's not like crazy harsh shadows. And I think because everyone's sort of going about their day in such a way, going to work and whatever, then, you know, they're only thinking about themselves and what they've got to do for the day. So you can get some really sort of relaxed people who are not crazy aware of what's going on around them. And that, for me, always leads to some really interesting photos. Hang out a little bit on this corner here, because there's a nice harsh shadow coming down here, and when people are walking past here, they're creating a nice little shadow pool in there, which I think would look really nice if I can find a cool composition. So you might be able to see, basically, if you look at the line markings on the camera, I'm shooting at f5.6, and you can see that everything between 2 meters and 5 meters is in focus. So I know that if something is that far away, that it's going to be in focus, which is the benefits of shooting with zone focusing, is you just know. You don't have to worry about focusing, because you know if someone's in that zone, they're going to be in focus, someone or something or whatever. I've often heard people say, you know, manual focus can be quicker than autofocus, and it's 100% true. And people like wonder, well, how can that be the case? Surely that's not the case. But it's because you utilize zone focusing, which means your focus is already set in the zone. That person or thing is in your zone. It's going to be in focus. And it's like a really weird concept to sort of get your head round to begin with. But once you have, it changes the game, really. Ultimately, good work is not the metric that's being measured by algorithms. They have no way of knowing that. The algorithms reward attention. So whether that be via novelty or shock factor, or proposing a take that's so wildly outrageous that people have to stay and listen or watch, whatever your medium may be. And that's really where the problem lies, because often the value of really good work doesn't show up immediately. You know, it takes time to marinate, it takes time to sort of come to fruition for people to truly understand it. And that is so far from what the algorithms are rewarding. I mean, I'm sure you can think of work that you've thought you've created that's absolutely amazing and it's completely flopped. And I guess my point is you need to keep creating that work. You need to put the work in and put the work out, because the world needs it. That sort of quite neatly leads me on to another point that I wanted to talk about in this video, and that's the commoditisation of your work. You know, even down to the language we now use to describe photos, videos, cinematography, photography. All of these words seem to fit inside this umbrella term of content. And I'm a content creator, but you're not. And I hate the word content, because it's like, my work is not a commodity. It's not for anyone else. It's not to make money necessarily. So calling it content just completely strips it of any of the real value that it actually has. And I don't know if anyone else has the issue with it that I do, but it honestly gets under my skin like very few other things when someone calls my photos content or my videos that I make content. You know, yes, this YouTube video is content. I wouldn't hazard to say a YouTube video is artwork, but the photos I'm taking are not content. They are a product of my art. So I've just posted up for a coffee at the Sun for 5 minutes, and you know the coffee is going to be unreal when it comes in a little plate like that. In this little arcade that I found. I have no idea what it's called. Got the M6 coffee. What more could you want? That is my idea of a good time. Oh yeah, that is good coffee. I don't know why stuff like that. It's just like quite interesting. Why is this bike not on the floor, you know? Look at that frame that I found, that perfect V. I really, really want someone to walk into it. So I'm gonna stand here until someone does. So set my camera up, be up. So that was a little bit of a disaster. Obviously I was yapping to the camera, and then literally as I went to put the camera down, someone walked straight through the frame. Looked great. Panicked, dropped the action cam. Luckily it was the action cam, missed the photo, but then about 2 seconds later another lady walked through, and I'm pretty gassed with the photo actually. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. And because the shadows like perfectly framed the building, and then you had all the heads in the building, and it's quite cool graffiti. Sorry, I go off on tangents sometimes. So I'm heading down to Borough Yards. I basically walked from Waterloo. I'm now on the South Bank. Gone past Tate Modern, gone past the Globe, and yeah, heading down to Borough Yards. Basically, the point I've been trying to make, and the thread that ties this entire video together, is that your art doesn't need to make sense to anyone else but you. Ultimately, as long as you've enjoyed creating it, you're passionate about it, and you love what you've made, it doesn't matter if not a single other human being on this planet likes it. But I can almost guarantee if you love it, someone else will. And for those exact reasons, you 100% should keep creating.